You are listening to Curious Cat, a podcast that examines the shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. And I'm your host, Jennifer Holtz. Join me every week as I examine what it means to be a soul in a meat suit. Welcome to Curious Cat. Hello, I hope you're well. I'm glad you're here. Today we're talking about dreams. What are they? How have they been considered throughout history? From the science behind our nighttime imaginings, to lucid dreams, to journaling, to the tricky art of interpreting dreams. Let's get started. A dream is defined by freedictionary.com as a series of images, ideas, emotions, and sensations occurring involuntarily in the mind during certain stages of sleep. We see dreams as our brain's way of processing the events of our lives, from the mundane daily grind to coming to grips with traumatic events to making us comfortable with upcoming changes. Some say that when our ego rests, our subconscious is free to explore our soul's existence without regard for time or space. From Wikipedia, the human dream experience and what to make of it have undergone sizable shifts over the course of history. So let's explore the connotation of dreams from the past to the present. And I have to apologize on the outset. I have practiced some pronunciation, but I know I don't have it right on some of these instances. But with love and respect, I'd like to share this information. So Samaria, in century 2144 to 2124 BCE, Gudea, the king of the Sumerian city-state of Lagash, rebuilt the temple of Ningirsu as the result of a dream in which he was told to do so. In ancient Egypt, people felt dreams were messages sent from the gods. They could be warnings of impending doom or even harbingers of good things to come. They were so fascinated with dreams, they created dream books, made them out of papyrus. They were encyclopedias of symbols and interpretations. They also created this process called dream incubation, where at times when someone sought a specific deity's guidance about a problem, they'd visit the temple built in that deity's honor and sleep there. When they woke, with the assistance of the priest, they'd solve the puzzle of that person's dream, and from it, glean the deity's advice about their problem. India Hinduism. In the Mandukya Upanishad, part of the Veda scriptures of Indian Hinduism, a dream is one of 3 states that the soul experiences during its lifetime, the other 2 states being the waking state and the sleep state. The earliest Upanishads, written before 300 BCE, emphasize 2 meanings of dreams. The first says that dreams are merely expressions of inner desires. The second is the belief of the soul leaving the body and being guided until awakened. Ancient Hebrews felt dreams were the voice of God. In Buddhism, ideas about dreams are similar to the classical and folk traditions in parts of Southeast Asia. The same dream is sometimes experienced by multiple people, as in the case of the Buddha to be before he is leaving his home. It is described in the Mahavastu that several of the Buddha's relatives had premonitory dreams preceding this. Some dreams are also seen to transcend time. The Buddha to be has certain dreams that are the same as those of previous Buddhas. It's what helps them to distinguish him as the coming Buddha. In Buddhist literature, dreams often function as a signpost to mark certain stages in the life of the main character. Antiphon wrote the first known Greek book on dreams in the 5th century BCE. In that century, other cultures influenced Greeks to develop the belief that souls left the sleeping body. Hippocrates, in 469 to 399 BCE, had a simple dream theory. During the day, the soul receives images. During the night, it produces images. Greek philosopher Aristotle believed dreams caused physiological activity. He thought dreams could analyze illness and also predict diseases. The word dream occurs many times throughout the Bible, according to BibleStudy.org. It occurs the most in the book of Genesis, 33 times, followed by the book of Daniel, 27 times, in the King James Version. Scripture states 2 people specifically were blessed with the ability to correctly interpret dreams, Joseph and Daniel. More from BibleStudy.org. Quote, Scripture, however, is sometimes not fully clear whether God is communicating with someone by this method or a vision. The wise men who came to worship Jesus as a baby dreamt of being told not to visit Herod the Great on their way back home. That from Matthew 2:12. And Pilate's wife had a disturbing dream about her husband's judgment of Christ in Matthew 27:19. More applicable Bible quotes about dreams from Numbers 12:6. And he said, Hear my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him in a vision. I speak with him in a dream. God came to Joseph in a dream that would help him protect the child, Jesus. In Matthew 2:13. Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, Rise, take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt, and remain there until I tell you. For Herod is about to search for the child to destroy him. Another from Daniel 4:5. I saw a dream that made me afraid. As I lay in bed, the fancies and the visions of my head alarmed me. They list the purposes of dreams as a warning not to do something, a prescient preview of what is to come, a spiritual truth, confirmation of a promise, an offer of encouragement, to inform a person or group to do something, to convey to an enemy their impending destruction, to offer a person a gift from God, and finally to warn a person they'll receive a punishment for sin. In 19th century France, a French doctor named Alfred Maury formed many theories that laid the groundwork for modern-day dream interpretation. He hypothesized that external stimuli are the catalysts for dreams, including issues that confront us during our waking hours. Freud famously studied dreams, which Jung and others later built upon in the 19th century. Freud concentrated on interpreting dreams without attempting to explain the mechanisms behind the dreaming, the hows and the whys. He proposed that dreams preserve sleep by representing as fulfilled those wishes that might otherwise awaken the dreamer. So, in other words, if you're worried about money in your waking hours, you might dream you have plenty of cash in the bank, so you remain asleep long enough to heal your body and brain for the coming day because money is no longer a worry that's keeping you awake. In 1940s, 1950s Western civilization, Calvin S. Hall collected more than 50,000 dream reports at Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio. The university is now called Case Western Reserve University. And in 1966, he and Robert Van de Castle published The Content Analysis of Dreams, in which they outlined a coding system to study 1,000 dream reports from college students. In their study, the only antiquated figure common to the college students' dreams was God, and the most common emotion experienced? It was anxiety. Some indigenous American tribes and Mexican populations believe that dreams are a way of visiting and having contact with their ancestors. Some Native American tribes have used vision quests as a rite of passage, fasting and praying until an anticipated guiding dream was received that would later be shared with the rest of the tribe upon their return. Today, dreams are an important part of any spiritual conversation. The modern take on the importance of the dream state is to see it as a skill that, if mastered, unlocks access to the delights of the subconscious. The thinking is that while the ego is at rest, the subconscious is able to link directly to something bigger than ourselves, source, and that sleeping hours, if approached with intention, not only heal us of emotional traumas experienced during daylight hours, but are when we're able to download software updates, so to speak, and explore other parts of ourselves that hide in the shadows, like creativity and those big picture goals you may be afraid to admit in the waking state that have been waiting for your attention. You probably guessed, but I'm a huge fan of this take on dreaming. In fact, I use my dreams to untangle plot knots in my manuscripts. I've also benefited from the healing powers of dreams, which I've shared in a previous episode, like how I became accustomed to my father's imminent death, but other times too, when my youngest kid was about to go off to college. Those are the things I remember, but in many cases, the subconscious has done its work unbeknownst to me. I wake up a blank canvas, refreshed and with optimism about the day ahead. Everyone enjoys a good dream. It can set the mood for the whole day, like the one I had not long ago where I shopped in an outdoor art market with my adult kids. I woke up from that feeling happy and content like I do after spending time with them in real life. Bad dreams, though, they're mostly disliked, right? I know I stray from the norm here. Nightmares are my bread and butter. To be honest, they're when I receive my best book ideas. In fact, for a long time, dreams were the only place I felt safe to explore that darker side of myself. The one that savored Stephen King novels, read them beneath the blankets, snuck into horror movies, and generally loved being scared. As a kid, I woke the whole house with my night terrors. When we visited Grandma, no one would share a bed with me, so I was relegated to the couch, or what she called the Davenport. I even had a nickname. They called me Audrey Rose from that horror movie. And then when we had my dad rescued a golden retriever named Sadie, and she used to vocalize in her sleep, and we called her Sadie Rose. So I was in good company. Most folks, though, maybe even you, probably avoid having nightmares. They can ruin a day and at the very least interrupt sleep, which leads to grogginess, crankiness. If you do have a nightmare, I would challenge you to write down what you remember and then look at it later on in the day. Does it feel less scary after time's passed? Is there something in it that speaks to your heart? Maybe it's exposing some anxiety you have about a pending change, or some speaking engagement, or event where you have to be with a lot of people, or some other type of life change. Or does the nightmare speak to something else, like another loss in your life recently? This just may be your brain's way of coming to grips with all that and more. There's no guarantee your nightmare is a precognition, but listen and see where it made you feel most tender or vulnerable. Then devote self-care to that space and see what happens. So what if I told you could control the course of your nightmare mid-dream? You can, it's called lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming was a game changer for me as a kid. Probably the reason I went on to not mind having nightmares. One morning, my mother asked what it was that had woken me up screaming, which I couldn't remember. But then she said, you control what you dream and you control the outcome. You're the one that's in charge of this. And that's all it took. Permission from my mother to begin lucid dreaming. So lucid dreaming is when you realize in the midst of a dream that it's not real. And then you change the outcome. If you've seen that movie, that Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Inception, well, they take the concept to a whole other level. Put another way, lucid dreaming is a way to remain consciously in control of your dreams. You tell your mind what's going to happen. And if the dream veers into unacceptable territory, then you take the wheel back and steer it in the direction you want. I used it as a kid to break the loop of a recurring nightmare. Others use it to practice ways to handle difficult situations, say confronting a boss or something like that. In the spiritual realm, if you are lucid dreaming during what feels like an experience that seems outside of you, bigger than you, like you've tapped into a collective consciousness, then seek out someone in the dream that gives off sage or guide vibes and ask them what they'd like you to know. Who knows what enlightened answers you may receive. Regardless, take time to record the dream as soon as you wake up. Oh, but wait, I haven't talked about that yet. One final note first. I stopped lucid dreaming in my 20s and have endeavored to find a way back to it in the last year with little result. I'll keep trying. Dream journaling is one tool I've been using to relearn the skill of lucid dreaming. So dream journaling, what is it? It's the process of keeping track of your dreams, usually in written form. Before last year, I'd never owned a official dream journal. Text threads with my adult kids and scribbles in random notebooks were all the record I had of those past dreams. It's something, but recently I purchased a gorgeous dream journal at a shop in Wheat Ridge, Colorado called Ritual. The journal is too pretty to ignore. Black cover, gold embossing. It commands attention, which is exactly what I've needed. The pages are mostly blank, but have prompts like, what moon phase is it? What time of day did you dream it? What were the general emotions the dream evoked? My journal stays on my nightstand with a pen, and it reminds me to record my dreams. So now I do it on a semi-regular basis, and it's kind of fun to look back on them. You don't have to spend money to create a dream journal. Staple a stack of notebook paper together and leave it near your bed with a pen. You can even use the voice recorder on your phone as a dream journal. The important thing is to get the dream down in some form before it disappears into the ethers. One quick caveat. Some people report that they don't dream. Well, hundreds of medical studies have proven that we all dream, just that some of us don't remember. If you're someone that doesn't think they dream, try this. Before falling asleep tonight, tell yourself, I'm going to remember. I hope in the morning you have evidence that you do dream and that it's a new part of yourself to explore, like this subconscious access that you have, some kind of secret access. When you're first getting into the routine of recording your dreams, they are elusive. If I don't put down the bare bones of it before I get swept up in the day, taking care of the pets and the like, it's gone. I can't even remember the barest detail from it. But there are ways to improve your odds of remembering a dream. First, right before you fall asleep, say, I will remember my dreams. Next, as soon as you wake up, don't move your body. Keep your eyes and body still. Then play the dream back through your mind. And then, only then, You can open your eyes, grab that dream journal, and scratch down the bare bones of what you recall. You can take more time later to flesh it out, but don't lose the gist. So I'll give you an illustration based on a dream I had in Hawaii so you can see what it looks like. So in the dream, I was in this small boat by myself. I was floating on a narrow waterway beneath this stunning white domed building, like it was the Taj Mahal meets It's a Small World vibes. Ahead on the waterway, and actually straddling the water, stood a glorious gray and blue elephant. It had this elaborate cloth trimmed with gold on its back and its head. As I sailed beneath it, I just felt my chest full of love. The elephant grazed my cheek with its strong trunk, and I said, "I love you, elephant. I love you," I professed. It regarded me as I passed underneath it with its bright blue eye. So I didn't have time to jot down the whole thing when I first woke up. Instead, I wrote down keywords: elephant, boat, water, white palace, blue eye, I love you. Later, when I had more time, I filled in the blanks. I put in more of the story. Then I thought about the dream. My impressions were basically love and awe for the elephant. I felt joy. It was a very tender dream. I tried to decipher the dream's meaning. I was like, was I being told that I was some high and mighty, incarnation of some hallowed spiritual leader? And I'm laughing because, just wait. Dreams give you what you need, not what you want. So in the back of that dream journal I have, there's a glossary of terms like objects and the like that are common in dreams and their possible meanings. Elephant symbolizes the need to let go of the past. Water indicates spirituality, knowledge, healing, and refreshment. Boat means ability to cope with and express your emotions. Blue eye means this is a trustworthy vision and is spiritually significant. So with all that in mind, my dream means that the elephant came to tell me it's time for me to let go of the past. I've healed, and looking backwards is impeding my spiritual journey. There's no need to spend any more time contemplating the past. Trust this to be true and move forward. Okay, wow, it wasn't what I wanted, but it was exactly what I needed to know. One final note, that glossary in my fancy schmancy journal, it's lovely, but it's not necessary. Underline key phrases and images that stick out to you, and then look them up online to find possible meanings. If it doesn't resonate, it may not be true for you. That symbol may mean something much more personal for you. Only you know. Also, often as a day unfolds and my subconscious has spent time thinking about the dream and symbols, by nightfall, I understand the purpose of the dream in this deeper, more coherent way. The whole process makes sleeping hours fun, like some fantastic mystery. But dream interpretation can be complicated business. From Wikipedia, to be studied, a dream must first be reduced to a verbal report, which is an account of the subject's memory of the dream, not the subject's dream experience itself, which is absolutely true, right? And from the book, The Psychic Spellcraft, dreams are a reflection of the influences on the subconscious mind, and everybody has their own unique issues that manifest as nighttime nuttiness. But even though we all produce our own visions, there are some common recurring themes like flying or standing naked in a crowd. What do these mean? Let's look at a couple of them. So they say cemeteries. To dream of walking through a cemetery means that you are sad or fearful, but don't despair. It can also mean that you're on the verge of a rebirth of some sort. Falling. Falling with fear means you're feeling out of control or insecure. Enjoying the fall means that you're ready to take on new challenges. Flying. Flying is a reflection of your capabilities and suggests a sense of freedom. This means you know you can do it, whatever the it is. Nakedness, naked in public in your dream means you feel vulnerable. Oh, I wanted to take a moment and read the back of my dream journal under the letter U so you could kind of see what they give as examples in my fancy schmancy journal. So U, umbrella, symbolizes emotional security. Undead, fears and the rejected aspect of yourself. Underground, confront and explore your unconscious. Underwater, you need to gain greater control of your life. Underwear, some aspect of yourself that is private, or you've been watching too much SpongeBob. Undress, reveal your true feelings. Be open about them. Up, feeling high or euphoric. The planet Uranus, originality, independence, individualism. And finally, utopia, your ideals and your strive for perfection. So that's just kind of an example of what they would have. And they do have a note in there that, like I said before, if it doesn't resonate with you, then let it go. It doesn't stick for that dream that you have. I wanted to talk about something else that's a little bit more mystical about dream. It's called astral projection. This comes again from the book Psychic Spellcraft. Some people can develop a skill called astral projection, which is something like dreaming in that the subconscious mind takes over. But in astral projection, your spirit actually leaves this earthly plane and enters a different reality, basically. They continue. Astral projection is a way of releasing your spirit from your body and letting it fly free. I'm so jealous of people that report that they have done this in their sleep. Astral projection can be used to visit loved ones on the other side, to relive moments you wish you could get back, or to gain knowledge from spirit guides. It may sound too out there to be considered real, but the authors of that book ask us to consider this yet another type of creative visualization. So think of it as a way of opening your mind and exploring its limits. To give astral projection a try, start like you do with meditation, they say. Find a quiet spot, light a candle or play music, burn incense and be aware of your breathing. Breathe deeply in and out. Then, from the authors, follow these steps. Imagine a beam of white light shooting from your feet right up through the top of your head. White light is always used for protection from sinister spirits or entities. It's a common theme. Even with meditation, they say to surround yourself with white energy. But they say it will be important for this journey. Say a prayer asking for protection from your angel guides. Now, imagine yourself tethered to your bed or to the ground with a cord made of that white, pure energy. Psychics use this energy to keep their souls tethered to their bodies while in the dream state and find their way back. Feel your spirit or your soul or your second body, as some call it, lift, and then rise out of your physical body. Nothing can impede it. You can rise right through the ceiling, through the apartment above you, through the roof, and travel anywhere you want. If you encounter your spirit guides when you're out of your body, go ahead and talk to them. Ask them anything you want. That's why you're in this state. If you feel scared at any point, just remember that cord that keeps you bound to your physical body and the physical plane. You can always say, I want to go back now and return to your body. Some have experienced a jolt or sense of falling when they're just about to project. So have you ever been drifting off to sleep and then awakened with a start? This is when you know that you're on the brink of leaving your body. There's another topic I'd like to touch upon, sleep paralysis. There's a interesting subreddit thread on the subject of sleep paralysis. I linked to it in the show notes, and you can read for the next hours and hours on people's actual personal experiences with sleep paralysis, which they describe as falling asleep and having chest pressure, and also the feeling of being unable to breathe. You are in fact breathing, but your senses are dulled in your chest. There may be hallucinations, but your brain is in dream mode and you're having an open-eyed dream. People experience sounds, screaming, talking, music. Again, this is because of your dreams being active while you're still awake. People report feelings of being touched, hurt, bitten, scratched, flying, falling, and shaking. Remember, your nerves are all asleep, and sometimes they're in the process of waking up and can cause interesting sensations as they do. Alternatively, your body may be simulating what your brain is dreaming about, as we normally experience this while we're asleep. People experience panic, anxiety, and terror during these sleep paralysis episodes, which is 100% natural response to the feeling of being trapped. People feel like time won't pass or time is stuck. Well, in the dream state, you have no real way of perceiving time, so it's very understandable. People report experiencing racing heart, which of course it's an output of anxiety. There can be intense or vivid nightmares before or after the sleep paralysis, which again is very understandable. Feeling alone, there's this sense of why is this happening to me? And you have a sense of isolation when you suffer from sleep paralysis. Well, sleep paralysis is not as rare as you think. Lots of people never even have known that other people, it happens to other people. They experience it as a weird dream and they maybe don't even talk about it, but it's common out there. The editor noted that he recently discovered through this subreddit that people were talking about also reporting buzzing, humming, or grinding type noises preceding an episode. And finally, some people report an old hag or a man in a black hat sitting on their chest. And others speculate that these are demons. It's an interesting phenomenon, this sleep paralysis, that warrants a deeper dive in another episode. It's caused by your body basically freezing during REM sleep. In the meantime, if it gives anybody comfort that suffers from sleep paralysis out there, studies have shown that it happens a lot less frequently when you sleep on your stomach for whatever reason. There'll be more on that in the future, I promise. And the final subject is about night terrors. I don't want you to confuse sleep paralysis with night terrors. Night terrors are often experienced by children. Some adults still experience night terrors. But with children, the phenomenon usually disappears by the time they turn 12. Actually, 2% of kids experience these, and they tend to occur within the first hour or so of sleep. They're distinguished as different from nightmares because children wake without any memory of the dream. There's no known cause of night terrors, but they tend to run in families. I hope you never look at dreams the same way again. I'd love to know about your experiences and if you're endeavoring to keep a dream journal and what you're finding when you look back at those dreams. Please find Curious Cat on socials, and if you feel comfortable, join the conversation. Thank you for listening to Curious Cat. If you like the content, stories, and information, I'd be ever grateful if you could recommend it to a friend or a family member to grow our listenership. I'd be grateful if you do. Huge shout out and thanks for my art director and audio engineer. If you're in need of those services, please find their links in the show notes. Also, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. As of this recording, I still have a handful of Curious Cat stickers. They're a little bigger than the original ones that were sent out. If you'd like one, please DM the show. And if you live in the US, I'll mail you a sticker for free until I have no more. Until next time, stay curious. I love you.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you looking for a new podcast that appeals to your scientific curiosity, but is also a little bit spooky?
Show me how I died in a past life.
Well, look no further, because this cat is where it's at.
He had concerns about the ethics surrounding AI, feeling they had achieved consciousness.
Curious Cat Podcast examines the shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. Listen every week with your host, Jennifer Holtz, as she and her guests explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit.
We were healing karma together. They were all kind of predestined to resolve something.
Listen on all your favorite streaming apps and continue the conversation on Twitter at CuriousCatPodCA, or find Jennifer and all her links at Jennifer L. Holtz, spelled HOTES.com.